Welcome to UFO Geeks Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Coletta. Hey, good evening, all you paranormal practitioners, you paranormal investigators, you paranormal researchers, and you paranormal enthusiasts. And welcome to another edition of my Ghost to Ghost PM. I'm Mike Coletta, your host, and I haven't been on the air for over a year. Last time I was on with my podcast was October 2008, so I thought, I better get back into this. So here I am. This is my first show for 2009, and I hope to have some other shows coming to you very soon. Also, since I last was on the air, I did get to go up to the Stanley Hotel in August of this year. It was really interesting. I got invited up there by Callie Seck. She's the on-site paranormal investigator at the Stanley Hotel. And the Stanley Hotel invited me up there. If you've been to my website, you know that I experiment a lot with different paranormal devices, little prototypes I build. All kinds of different weird ideas go spinning through my head, and I've even dreamt of some and created them after I've woken up from the dream, or maybe a nightmare, whatever the case may be. But I've created quite a few prototypes, and you can see them out there, and I talk about how to build them and things like that. But I was contacted by a couple of groups that are on television, let's say that, and they wanted to know about some of my devices. They wanted to know if they could borrow them, or if I could, just kind of send them their way, and they would use them and give me the credit and all this, and I wasn't really interested in that. Plus, I didn't really know how all of them worked yet. I had a feeling, I had a theory on how these things worked, like my 8-in-1 paranormal device, but I wasn't exactly sure how. So after a couple of these groups contacted me and asked me, and actually asked, if they could buy the devices, and I said, no, I'm not into the selling mode. I just kind of build these for myself, test them out. I decided, I go, well, I'm not too far away from the Stanley Hotel, so I wrote the Stanley Hotel, thinking they wouldn't write me back or even contact me back, and I said, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I have this website, and I do this, and I do this, and I create these paranormal devices, and these different groups were contacting me, and I mentioned who the groups were, and I says, and I didn't feel right providing them these devices because I'm not really sure how they work, and I'd like to test them in a haunted location, and I know the Stanley Hotel is a haunted location, and could I maybe sometime when I'm up there stop on by and kind of just walk around the grounds and inside the hotel and try these devices out, these prototype devices. And I didn't think I was going to hear from them or anything. Well, I think it was like a day and a half later, I got an email from Callie Seck, the paranormal investigator at the Stanley, and she said that they would be happy to support me in my research, and they would like to give me a room free of charge down to Stanley. They actually gave me room 401 at the Stanley Hotel, and that was the same room that some of the ghost hunters, when they did their ghost hunters show, they stayed in room 401, and I got to stay in room 401. It was really nice. And I got there, and brought all my equipment in and was greeted. It was real nice, and met this couple downstairs, and ended up inviting them on the investigation too. And I was up in the room, and there was, as you know, if you've been up to the Stanley Hotel, they have about 15 tour groups 15 tours that travel through the grounds during the day. And they do these ghost tours, and they give the history of the Stanley and all that. And so there was a couple of the groups were going around. I was just kind of listening, and I went up to the room, and I heard them out in the hall. Well, there were certain rooms that they like to take the tour groups to, and room 401 is one of the rooms, the room I was in. So I just was kind of listening down the hall, and there was another room down the hall that somebody was in also, but they didn't want anything to do with it. They didn't want to let the people in. They bah humbugged it, basically. And I heard that went on, and I said, well, that's not nice. That's bad karma for them. So I went out in the hall, and I said, hey, you guys want to come and see room 401? Is that on your list? And the tour guy says, it sure is. You don't mind? So the tour group all came down there, and that's how I started my day at the Stanley, letting this tour group inside the room, and just kind of had everything spread out on the bed there. All my devices were spread out on the bed. I had unpacked by then. And here comes about 15, 20 people into the room, and all of a sudden, they start taking pictures of me and my equipment. They go, "Oh, are you a ghost hunter?" I said, "Well, no, I'm just so-and-so. I'm nobody, blah, blah, blah. Oh, can you go pose by your equipment? And can we have a picture with you?" And, I was like, I was just being, flash cubes, or not flash cubes, but the flashes were going off all over the place. And the tour guide says, okay, let's settle down. We got to, let me tell you about the room here and all that. So they kind of went over their spiel on the room, and people just kept looking at the equipment, though, and I says, God, they know, they want to know what this is. I know they do. When you see a bed full of all this weird stuff, and you're in a paranormally haunted hotel, you want to know what this stuff is. And so after the tour guide got done telling the story about room 401 and the closet in 401 and all that, and I said, hey, do you mind if I tell them what this stuff is? So she said, no, go ahead. So I kind of explained what everything was, and they started taking more pictures and getting all excited. Could I touch this? And I go, yeah, go ahead, yeah, pick it up and all. So, it was kind of neat. We just kind of went over everything, and just they were videotaping me. I was taking pictures. So they left, all excited, and I was all excited. I said, hey, this is all what it's all about, sharing this with them, and I'm glad I was able to do it. Well, here comes another tour group. I said, come on in. And we went through the whole thing, the pictures, the talking, the stories, what's this, what's that, and everybody had a good time. So and then after the third tour group came in and left, then I got to settle down and actually start doing a little bit of experimenting up there with some of the devices. And like I said, I got videos on there. I brought a bunch of the Rowdy-Vay diode devices up there and a bunch of the other things. My 8-in-1 paranormal box I brought up there. My shadow detector I brought up there. I made this little shadow detector that alerts when there's either a shadow being or a shadow. The room light intensity changes anywhere around the detector. But I didn't get to test that one up there. But I tested quite a few other devices up there. It was a lot of fun, and it was really surprising what I did find up there. In the locations that people were said to have found things, I found things. And I swept the room with the 3 different EMF detectors while I was there to make sure it was clean and wasn't getting anything. But that closet in room 401, that was amazing. I mean, just what was going on in that closet. And that is supposed to be one of the haunted areas in that room there. And then after this room 401, I met Callie, and I actually brought another group down there, another couple with me who were real excited about doing some kind of investigation. I brought them down there with me, and we kind of went down. Callie brought us down to the concert hall at the Stanley. So if you've ever been to the Stanley, one of the other areas of the hotel that's haunted besides some of the other rooms is the concert hall. And down in the basement of the concert hall, they call it Lucy's room. And so we went down to Lucy's room, and that's where we're going to start our investigation with the different devices. But Callie got a call on her cell phone when we were down there, and she said, hey, there's somebody famous here at the hotel that wants to participate in your investigation, Mike. Is that okay? And I said, well, sure, yeah, come on down. So the person came down, and it turned out to be an individual named John English. He's kind of like an Ozzy Osbourne or Gene Simmons, the rock stars of that era. In Australia, he's one of the big rock stars there. He's actually an actor also, and and if you type in John English, he did the Pirates of Penzance and different things like that. So he's acted, and he's done screenplays, he's done movies, he's rocked out, he's a rock star, and so him and his wife joined us for the investigation. It was kind of cool. So I think I have them on the video too, one of the videos where he comes in and we introduce ourselves, and they stayed with us for about an hour and a half, 2 hours down in Lucy's room, and we tested some of the devices and got some interesting feedback from those devices and some EVPs, and I have them all there on. We had a great time there. Callie was extra special, great lady out there at the Stanley, and had a lot of fun. And John English and his wife. John went back upstairs to the pub, and his wife stayed downstairs. She was more interested in that, so we had a good time out there. So that was fun. Then Callie took us upstairs at the Stanley into the concert hall upstairs, and then when we were done with that, she said, Mike, you got carte blanche, whatever, they know to let you in different rooms if you want to go in empty rooms and things like that. But what I did, I was getting kind of late, or actually early in the morning. I just kind of went into the billiards room there and did some investigating in there with some of the meters and some of the EVP capture devices. So that was a lot of fun. That was the Stanley Hotel, so check that out. Also,